Do you think the National Space Council will be axed?
That's a good question. Actually, I spoke at the National Space Council a few years ago during the first Trump administration to talk about NASA's moon program, which I largely disagreed with. And they were very open. We had a good discussion. I don't know if it's going to be axed or not. Trump won. It was pretty busy. During Biden, I think it only met 2 or 3 times. It hardly met at all. And now, Trump has Elon to tell him what to do in space. So I'm not sure that they'll still have this going yet or not. That's actually one of the questions that's still TBD.
So you think the emphasis will move from lunar explorations to Mars exploration?
After the Space Shuttle Columbia blew up in 2003, the tragedy, the George W. Bush administration came up with Project Constellation, which was to go back to the moon. Then when Obama got elected, he was not a big fan of George W. Bush, so they canceled the moon program, and they called it Journey to Mars. We went from moon to Mars. Then when Trump came in, he went, let's go to the moon. So we went back. We're going to the moon, and now that's been on the program for a few years, and now all of a sudden we want to go to Mars. So the bottom line is, if NASA doesn't figure out what it's doing and then focus on it, we're never going to go anywhere. This moon program started 20 years ago, and it still hasn't flown its first manned or crewed or whatever, per your last segment you just had. It still hasn't flown with human beings for the first time. So we need to figure out what we're going to do, and then we need to stick to it. Otherwise, it's going to just be spending money and nothing happens.
So where are we at right now in the international space race 2.0 between the US and China? And are things going to move faster for the US, given Trump's back in the White House?
Yeah. The Biden administration almost entirely kept what the first Trump administration had done, and the first Trump had largely kept what Obama has done. So our space program really hasn't changed that much now for a decade or more. The big question, and that's interesting you phrased it that way, the first race was America-Russia. It's very much America-China now. Europe can be a supporting partner, but they're not going to lead the way. Russia's destroyed itself with its illegal invasion of Ukraine. So it's all about America and China. The advantage that China has is they don't have midterm elections and all this silliness that we have with democracy. So they can pick a plan and stick to it. So the question is going to be, can we pick a plan and stick to it and have our attention span not get too distracted? That'll be the interesting thing that plays out for the rest of this decade, I think.
I beg to disagree that this democracy thing is silliness. It's responsible for my freedom now. So thank you.
And by the way, I'm so glad to see you. As Churchill said, democracy is an awful form of government. It's just better than all the rest. So that's my mission on Earth.
Right now.
My
Thank
mission
you.
on Earth, yeah.